Hello, this is Dr. Amy Breeze Harper of the Sister Vegan Project, and it's July 25th, 2016, and I have some exciting news to share with everyone. I was just notified by Veg News, the magazine, that the Sister Vegan Project blog has received a Bloggy Award from Veg News, along with many other people that are awesome bloggers when it comes to veganism. So I'm pretty thrilled about that folk nominated the Sister Vegan Project blog as a significant, source of information in their lives in terms of veganism and other ethical consumption issues. So thank you very much. That's awesome. I think the blog is about 8 or 10 years old now. And the Sister Vegan Project itself, I started in 2004 when I did that call for papers asking for the contributions of Black identified women vegans to talk about how being racialized in this country and living the gender that they live, how that's influenced how they go about their vegan practice. So that's awesome. So another piece of information I'd like to share with you is that Raj Patel, who's the author of Stuffed and Starved and many other great critical food studies books, he has a show along with two other people that he's a co-host to called Secret Ingredient, and that's on an NPR podcast. So I was interviewed earlier today, and they focus on a specific ingredient. So the ingredient they want to focus on this week is whiteness. So they asked me to really talk about, how I'm interrogating whiteness within ethical consumption and veganism, and also talking about my work, the remedy to that, intersectional anti-racism. So that was wonderful 90 minutes, and once that has been edited and it's up and running, I'll let you all know. And then another thing I want to talk about is that I did a call for papers a few months ago for the vegan praxis of Black Lives Matter. That will be the second Sister Vegan anthology. That's the theme. And the deadline for that was July 15th, 2016. And I actually did not get enough contributions. I'm not disappointed. I know people have things to do. It's completely fine. With the first anthology, I think it took me 5 or 6 call for papers to really get enough comprehensive content for this first initial project. So with this one, I'm extending the deadline, and how about we make it till September 1st if you'd like to contribute to it. I'm actually going to open it up to exploring, not just the implications of Black Lives Matter and how that is influenced how one goes about their veganism, how they understand veganism, how it's part of their intersectional approach to justice, food justice, what have you. But I really wanted to let people know that it's not just about Black Lives Matter. We're at the current stage in, Black liberation in the United States where the central focus seems to be on, yes, Black Lives Matter, and they have had significant impact on creating law and policy changes and getting those who have not had that embodied experience of being Black and experiencing systemic or direct oppression related to being Black. I'm trying to get those folks to really understand how pressing this is. But Black Lives Matter is this continuum of what has come before, which is different forms of Black liberation strategies, and there are others that are in the works, not just Black Lives Matter, but Black Lives Matter has taken focus. So this particular call for papers, I really want to have folk contribute the meaning of doing Black liberation work, but not in a one-dimensional lens. And those who will be contributing are people who practice veganism, but also doing the work that is very intersectional. So, for instance, maybe you want to talk about how you're doing work as a Black vegan who is completely aware of racial profiling directed toward Black folk in the country. And perhaps for you, the work that you're doing is also wants to recognize that, when we talk about Black Lives Matter and the people who make it to mainstream media as those who've been victims of police brutality, it's usually cisgender Black men, right? So, maybe you're someone who's actually talking more about the marginalized of the marginalized within the Black community, such as transgender Black women who have the highest rates of violence toward them, I believe, than any Black I guess, identity within that spectrum. So maybe you're doing that type of work as an intersectional social justice person who's combating transphobia, trans-hating policies, people, and that's integrated into your vegan work. Perhaps you're somebody who is completely dedicated to animal rights as a Black identified vegan, but you've experienced within the mainstream that, wow, there isn't really a conversation and there isn't really strategies to talk about the significance of not just Black Lives Matter, but the significance of what it means for a mainstream approach to animal rights to still be so centered on whiteness as the norm. So there's just many different ways to approach this. You can do it writing an essay. You can also do it through poetry. And I'm looking for contributions to the cover art as well. So if you have some great, beautiful skills and you want to propose a cover art piece for the book, please do so. So I'm looking for a September 1st deadline for abstract proposals. And you can send that to the address at the bottom of this video that gives you my contact information. Okay, so those are the updates. So, I hope people who are able to listen to or view this video are just doing, as well as they can, and that you're being gentle and kind with yourself. I know a lot of the people who follow my work are like me, doing this intersectional approaches to justice, and it's really taxing. I totally understand that. So be gentle with yourself. It is not narcissistic to actually take care of yourself. Self-care is like radical. It's radical activism. And for the mainstream to even consider that self-care is a form of radical activism for the most marginalized, like that's something that needs to be worked on. It's not narcissistic. It's very much in need, which is why I'm writing the book, Recipes for Racial Tension Headaches, because, we need a lot. We need a lot to deal with this. We need to take care of ourselves. We need community. We need the right nutrition. We just need so much to dismantle these overlaying systems of oppression. And nutrition and food and self-care, that's one of them. For those of us who have access to it, I know access is a privilege, and there are many of us who are working very hard to make sure that regardless of socioeconomic status, geographical location, that everyone should have what they need to thrive. And that we can really only do that if we dismantle not just systemic racism, but systemic poverty, systemic patriarchy, all of those oppressions that create a difficult situation for most people to thrive and truly be who they need to be. So with that, I hope everyone is doing as well as they can be, and be sure to either comment or you can contact me directly if you have any questions or concerns.